Hello, mainlanders and islanders alike. Welcome to East Coast DNA. We are a music news podcast. I'm Andrew, and this is my brother.
Darcy Walsh. Welcome, everyone.
We have a couple guests coming up after our first music break. We Should Have Been Plumbers are going to be here to join us. Let's burn through some news, and we'll get into the interview. Coming up this weekend on March 26th at 3 p.m., there's a benefit for the Westville Boxing Club, and that will be held at the White. Playing there, we'll have Stephen LeBlanc, which we both know quite well. From days of drinking in the woods until today, we still know Stephen. So
I remember him as the Kiss fan from when I worked at the arcade.
Yes, I know him from being a Kiss fan. That's how we really got to know each other. We got Nathan White, Dan Fortune, Dustin Jefferson, James Caldwell, Mitch Comeau, Ashley George, which if you don't know Ashley's name, then you probably haven't been paying attention. And
yes,
the Dad Bod Divas, which I thought that was maybe a suggestion for my band name, but I guess someone else already took it. So
yes, we'll have to find out who's in that.
yeah, they're probably our age, this Dad Bod. So.
Oh, likely. We know half the people on that list.
Yeah. And New Glasgow's Art at Night is back on May 7th. They didn't have it the last couple of years as a live thing. They had online presence for that and stuff, but they're actually doing the real Art at Night now, where they take over downtown New Glasgow, take over the streets. Always lots of talent down there, from artists to musicians to street performers, dancers, everything. Any kind of art you can think of, they feature it down there. So if you make it down,
yeah, and you've definitely been to that more than I have. But the last couple of years that I did get to go, I really enjoyed it and actually wished I had gone more often in the earlier years.
It's so good. It's just a great time to get out and be surrounded by art. You can't ask for more. So if anyone can make it down there, we highly recommend it, and we will link the event page in the show notes so you can go find that. Dogs of Sun and Only Vultures Left are playing April 2nd at Gus's Pub, $10 at the door. The door opens at 9. I almost played Gus's Pub. I was supposed to play their Green Jello, and I had to work, so I couldn't go join them, but I missed that one. It would have been fun. DRI 40th Anniversary Tour, July 1st and 2nd in Moncton and Halifax, with Dayglow Abortions and Citizen Rage. And we had Glenn Jackson on a couple weeks ago talking about the Pictou Lobster Carnival. Their advance tickets are on sale now. They went on sale March 18th. So time release, they're there now, and there's limited run, so get out and grab them quick. So what do we have for...
I'll be buying them for sure. I don't know if you're going to be coming down, but you got room here at the apartment if you want to crash in Pictou County. So
yes, and I'll test myself before coming and after I leave.
Oh, I wasn't talking to you. I was talking to the listeners.
Oh, the listeners. Anyone wants to come stay at Darcy's house, he has a couch, and I'm sure you can sit 3 side by side and sleep sitting up. And what do we have for new music out this week?
Yeah, Keeper, who we've mentioned a few times, and I had mentioned that she had some new stuff coming out. This Is Like Everything is out now, actually. That'll be in our playlist this week. Shay Pitts, who just we mentioned not too long ago as well, also has a new single out, Putting Up a Fight, that we'll also throw in the playlist. And a band that we mentioned last week, Money Go Round. One kind of important note about that band too, we had also mentioned in the news about Dennis Ellsworth winning for Video of the Year at the Music PEI Awards. He's the frontman for this band, so this is a project of his as well. So I'd mentioned last week that I really liked that single that they had at the Very Cherry. It was making onto multiple playlists that I keep for the car and around the apartment and whatnot. And they have a new single out now, Stupid Fight.
Okay.
So we'll add that to the playlist as well. And I think that's a band that probably everybody should be keeping an eye on. I think they had, with the original single, they had a pre-order thing where you could listen to 2 songs. And now this is their second single, but it's really the 3rd song from that album.
Oh, okay.
So there's also pre-save out there. You can go out and pre-save on Spotify, I believe.
Perfect. As Darcy mentioned, the playlist on Spotify and YouTube, so you can check those out. They will be linked in the show notes as well, and at the end of the YouTube video, the YouTube link is there. So
they'll probably change a lot between the recording time today and Sunday evening, Monday morning, whenever we make them publicly available.
Yeah. So if you guys want some more events and news, join our conversation on Discord. We have a bulletin board section there where we'll be sharing upcoming shows. And we have a music sharing area where you can share your signals. We share singles. And you can check out all the new music there as well.
Yes, and if anybody has any ideas for that too, we're more than welcome to try some new things out there.
Exactly. And another album that is coming out next week.
Yes.
2 days, not next week, 2 days from now. Pull behind the curtains. It is not release day today. It's a week early that we're recording. But 2 days after the release of this podcast,
yes,
the We Should Have Been Plumbers EP will be out. And we are going to talk to We Should Have Been Plumbers after this music break. And this song is Larger Than Life. It is their Backstreet Boys cover. So check this out. We'll be back soon.
Tell you now, there are prices to fame. All you people, can't you see how your love's affecting our reality? Every time we're down, you can make it right. That makes you larger than life. Looking at the crowd, I see your body sway, wishing I could thank you in a different way. All you people, can't you see how your love's affecting our reality? Every time we're down, you can make it right. That makes you larger than life. All you people, can't you see how your love's affecting our reality? Every time we're down, you can make it right. That makes you larger than life.
Welcome back. That was Larger Than Life. It is We Should Have Been Plumbers cover of a Backstreet Boy song. And they're here with us now. We have Kim Carson and Jillian Comeau. And how are you guys?
Doing good. Yeah. Thanks for having us.
Feeling great. Thank you.
So We Should Have Been Plumbers is kind of a pandemic baby. You are both originally from Like a Motorcycle. And
That's right. Yeah.
Yep, that's true.
And you're branching off and doing this side project on your own now. So how did this kind of come to be?
You want to take it, Kim?
Well, I mean, I guess the pandemic really put a halt on life, as we all know. So myself still being in Like a Motorcycle, we kind of, all our tours and all our shows got canceled. And like most people, we were just at home and, being quite privileged, I guess you could say. We were kind of given the gift of time as artists. And Jill was in Vermont and in the same situation. Jill just kind of started sending me little guitar riffs, sort of like pieces of songs and stuff. And it's just like, here, listen to this. Like, maybe you want to put something down. I don't know. I was like, yeah, sure. Put something down. And it just kind of rolled from there.
Perfect.
So was this going on like early in the pandemic?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I think yeah, like I believe we started in November of 2020.
okay. And so Kim didn't mention any of this when I interviewed her a few months ago. So now I'm going to switch right over to Jillian.
Yeah.
So Jillian, when you did leave Like a Motorcycle, when I do interviewed Kim and Katie way back, you weren't around. So I was curious, when you left, that was because of the touring aspect more so. Am I correct? I mean, I
Yeah.
don't want to get too much into it, but I mean,
Yeah, no, that's okay.
that was my take, was that you had left more so because of the touring element.
Yeah,
And I'm
no,
curious
sure we
how
could.
that led to you landing in Vermont.
Sorry
And
about
how
my
much you
dog
can
barking
tell,
there.
because I mean, that's maybe not music related, maybe that's just personal life
Yeah,
stuff. But yeah,
yeah.
what can you tell us about that?
Well, I married a scientist who was finishing her PhD in astrophysics at SMU, and she's from here. And when we
Oh,
started dating, she basically was like, as soon as I'm done school, I'm leaving, and I'm going with or without you, kind of thing. So,
well,
You
there
chose
you
with.
go.
so here we are. That's the short answer. But yeah, I quit the band, didn't want to travel, and look at me.
Well, and I mean, that's kind of a happy ending story, is that most people in that situation, they're making a decision between, their personal life and their music career.
Mhm,
But you're
mhm.
obviously still in touch with your music career, because not only
Yeah,
this, but we had featured one of your plays of music songs on an earlier episode as well.
that's right. Yeah.
So what else were you doing since that time? Because there's a big gap over
Uh,
5 years, between 5 to 10 years, maybe.
well, I left like a motorcycle in the end of January or the end of 2016.
Okay.
And Dave started 2017. And as soon as I stopped that, I immediately started DJing.
Mm-hmm.
And I played like big DJ shows. Not all big, I mean, a lot of little ones, but like I played like Halifax Pride, and I played Halifax Pop Explosion and Nocturne and just a bunch of stuff. Um, Played a couple of shows at like little late night bars in the North End and stuff. So that's kind of what I did in the interim. And then I guess I still play guitar. I still like to write songs. And after a bunch of DJing, I was like, well, it'd be nice to make my own music again rather than just playing other people's. Uh, but it's kind of like two halves of who I am. And
Mm-hmm.
I'll always, like Kim can tell you this, like every week when we first met, when we were younger, we spent every Monday at Rockin' for Dollars with a bunch of punk bands, and every Saturday dancing to Lady Gaga. So like it's always been like two halves of the same life, and share and everything else. So like
Mm-hmm.
that's what we do, and that's, I'm just still doing both, really.
Well, and that's actually the good. Andrew and I were talking about earlier too, with the playlist that I've been making for this. Like, we didn't want to be genre specific, but there's lots of stuff to choose from. But when you start throwing stuff in, like, it's hard to make something flow. But I noticed more and more when I'm interviewing people and discussing all these things, nobody listens to one genre. Like, not really.
You're kidding
I mean,
yourself.
people might
You're
identify
lying.
under something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When I
Yeah, it's kind of
So-
questionable if you do listen to
Yeah,
just
come
one.
on.
It's like, what's
That's
up?
true. That's true.
when
And
Google makes me the
I've
auto
been-
playlist, I'm like, how did they decide these songs go in one playlist? I'm like, oh, I helped make
Yeah.
that up.
Yeah.
Like, why is Wild Wild
Steak,
West
my
playing right
friend.
now after that? I'm like, oh, because I bopped to Will Smith
Yeah.
in the car by
That's
myself.
an awesome song.
Yeah,
It is an
that's
awesome
why.
song.
Yeah.
Kim
So
and I have listened to
between-
a lot of Will Smith at our parties.
Well,
Perfect.
which one of you is the pop fan? Because you guys used to cover Britney Spears as well.
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
no which one of us. I'd say
It's-
that's
it's both,
us.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Well, there you go. So, Kim, are you involved with other stuff outside of Like a Motorcycle that, obviously you like to experiment a little bit, or you wouldn't be doing this stuff with Jillian as well?
Musically, I'm not doing anything else right now besides these two projects. I mean, they keep me pretty busy. Um, I'm not someone who can just like jump into a band, or I'm not someone who really has a lot of interest in playing in like cover bands.
Mhm.
I'm not like the type of musician who can just like play something. I can't read music. So I think after like trying a few things here and there, I had to like I was like, who am I kidding? Like, this isn't what I want to do. You know what I mean? I'm kind of in it for the writing and like the artistry of it, I think, more than the musicianship.
Sure.
Of course, being a good musician and musicianship is really important to me, but I think I come at it more from like the writer creator sort of side of it. So I do a lot of other things. Like I'm always sort of like, I'm really into film photography, and I do like collage work and stuff like that. So I do some like other art stuff, but musically this kind of like fills my cup, I think.
Sure.
Yeah.
So where you guys are actually in different countries at this point,
Mhm.
is there any element to this band where you plan on doing stuff live down the, like, I mean, it's early in reopening stuff, and who knows what 6 months is going to be like, but do
Mhm.
you want to try to do that down the road, or
We've
is there
talked about
any?
it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, we've talked about it. I think it's for me. Again, it kind of takes you back to the travel thing,
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
and like traveling for music again. But at the same time, I'm super open to making a couple trips down there for a couple of weeks to get something together. And I mean, we'd probably get Sean in on it because Sean played drums, and
Mhm.
get a couple of buddies who want to just have some fun for a night and maybe play a show or two. Like, I think that's on both of our radars.
Mhm.
But yeah, it'll probably
Yeah.
just take a little while to get a feel for what's going on, because Kim also has like her obligations with like a motorcycle and traveling for shows opening back up again
Sure.
too. So
Yeah.
yeah, we just have
Yeah.
to figure out a good time maybe.
Yeah, that's a common theme with all the, especially the Nova Scotia bands. Every band has members that are in other bands, so
Yeah.
nobody can
100%.
like just take off forever. Like, everyone's
no.
got to kind of
Totally.
circle each other somewhat.
The last
Yeah.
band I was in,
Yeah.
we shared a drummer with another band, and we just always play shows together, which is easier. One drummer,
Mhm.
two bands.
Yeah.
And then
Just-
There
your
you go.
drummer's just really tired all the time.
Yeah.
Well, that was how we started. We started
Mhm.
because we started with Michelle when she was in No Flyers Please. And that
Yeah.
was, we played so many shows where she'd play a set with both, and we were just
Oh, yeah.
laughing, but she was wrecked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you
Right.
considered doing anything online together? Like, that's the world we live in. And I
Yeah.
mean, we had talked just a moment before we were recording about Twitch and stuff. Like, there's
Mm.
tools out there.
There is. I think it's like it's a vibe, and I don't
Mhm.
know, like
Sure.
this kind of this type of music. I mean, I know it can be for anything, and it'd be cool to do like a live video, but as you know, technology's not really always there where you can be in two
Right.
different rooms
Yeah,
and
totally.
make it work. So I think for me personally, I'd rather wait and do something actually live and maybe film that and then have that be the thing that comes
Sure.
out for
I feel
everyone
that for
else,
sure.
Yeah.
But
I
I'm
think-
old, so I'm also like definitely, dig my heels in a little bit. Like, I just got TikTok, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
I'm not
I've
doing
really-
well keeping up.
I've had TikTok for like 3 years, and I started using it like 2 weeks ago. So,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, most of my experience has been the last year or so with a lot of this stuff.
Yeah.
But as somebody that, as a fan, going out and watching a lot of different live streams and stuff, I love when they're live, but I've seen so
Mhm.
many issues that I do realize that a pre-recorded thing with a live premiere maybe, and a small thing like
Exactly.
this in front of it or afterwards seems
Yeah.
to work
Yeah.
pretty
Yeah.
well.
I know
for
some really
sure.
good bands that tried the remote collaboration thing, and they didn't seem like really good bands during
Yeah,
that remote
well,
that's
collaboration.
I mean,
just
I
it, yeah.
I can't speak for Kim. Like, Kim gave a good answer of her
Yeah.
own, but like for me, I kind of hate it. Like, and
Mhm.
it's not that I don't totally respect and enjoy like the offerings that all of our buds are making online. It's great. Like, it's like it's just like, I would have liked to have written this record in a room with Kim, but we couldn't, so we did it this
Yeah.
way. Like,
Yeah.
it's all good. But especially for the kind of music and the kind of vibe that Kim and I both live for, it's like it's got its fingers in sweat. You know what I mean? It's like
Mhm.
sweat and bodies and energy in a room. Like, that's the kind of stuff that's always driven whatever live performances we've done, even before like a motorcycle. Like, it's always just been like that connection with people in a room. So
Yeah.
I'd prefer to save this for that probably,
Sure.
but
Yeah.
yeah, we'll see.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes
And
sense.
so the EP is 6 tracks.
6 tracks. Yeah.
Okay, so we've heard 2,
Yes.
and our listeners will hear another one
That's right.
as well. So we'll have a little preview on another song from that.
I listened to the whole
So-
thing there about an hour
Oh,
ago,
nice. Good.
and
Yeah.
I like it. I dig it. I like the guitars.
Nice.
The songs we
Yeah.
heard already weren't quite as guitar-y, and I found the other 3 are more guitar-y. And
Oh, nice. I love that.
I
love
enjoy
that.
the guitar-y.
Yes. That makes me very happy.
Did you deliberately go into it trying to get different sounds, or was it just more that like Jillian's trying different riffs and sounds and
We
sending them?
deliberately didn't do anything. Nothing
Okay.
we did was deliberate in any way.
This
Not-
album was an accident.
This was an accident. Like
the best way to
we
do it.
didn't even set out to make a record. We had just we were like 4 songs in, and we were like, oh, I guess this is like a record now, and maybe we could put it out, But
Totally.
it was just like happening very organically over time. We were just sending. There was no discussion. There was no like we're gonna
We
make
didn't talk
a.
about anything.
We didn't talk about
Mhm.
anything. We didn't even talk
we didn't even
about
talk
the
about the
songs.
yeah.
No, we just
At
send
all.
things back and forth, and we just kind of said yes to pretty much everything. It was like a yes game.
Yeah, like if like we talk about this a lot amongst ourselves, but like if we were in a room together and I asked her like, oh hey, why don't you play something to this? Like 9 times out of 10, both of us are going to be like, oh, don't play it that way, maybe try it this way or whatever, and we would like do that to each other. But in this case, like she'd send me a bass line and I'd sit with it for a few days or a couple weeks and just be like, oh, that's weird, I don't know about that, and then I would just use it and I would build off of it. And neither one of us ever sent anything back to say, I don't like what you did. We literally said yes to every single part for the whole thing. And this is
Awesome.
kind of an exercise of what happened, I guess.
So when
True
did Sean get
collaboration.
involved? Is that after you guys started mixing like demos and stuff together?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
all the songs were completely written, and all the tracking was done, and we just did it all to like fake drums. Basically, we just put a.
Mhm.
Jill would basically pick a tempo and put a guitar track down, and that was pretty well how every song started, except other reasons, I guess.
Yeah.
Which is the song we're going to listen to. But yeah, pick a tempo, and Jill would just use like an electric drum sound, and then put the guitars down. And so yeah, everything. I think everything was completely tracked before Sean came
Yeah.
on
Okay.
board.
It
yeah.
was. Yeah.
And then he
Yeah.
just laid his drums
but-
down.
Yeah,
Mhm.
but the drum tracks that we used to record to were just like quite simple, like they were really just there to like show the parts, and so he had like complete creative control. We basically decided that the yes game we had played together, we would also play with Sean. So same thing, we were never in a room with him. He did it all in his house. We just said, here you go, and he said, here you go, and we were like, great.
Thank you.
I
We
find
were
that's
like,
kind of
"Thank
my
you."
barrier to entry to writing music is the drums. Like there's electronic options now. You can get like Easy Drummer. You can drag and drop
Mhm.
pieces and
Mhm.
stuff. But I find that's my real barrier is not having much experience with drums or creating the rhythm. So I start with a
yeah,
bass
yeah,
track and then I
same
put my
way.
guitar over it and stuff, but I don't ever, I can't even imagine what I want the drums to be in my head. So I need my
Right.
own Sean, I think.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Well-
Totally.
Yeah, it's like a lot of what I envisioned for the drums were not at all what Sean did, but that was like the best possible scenario. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
that what he thought, what his vision like was so much better, and he really took the songs and really made them, so much more than
Yeah,
what
I think
we could have
we wrote the
imagined.
songs and
Yeah.
we loved what we'd done just amongst ourselves. Like we were like, this has been really fun. We really enjoyed this. And then we were like, okay, well maybe we'll actually do something with this. And once we sent them to Sean and he sent them back, I think that was totally like the clear moment of like, okay, this is a record that other people might like to listen to. So
Yeah.
yeah, he breathed a certain amount of life, because what it's like, even you talking, Andrew, about how you feel about those like electronic drum tracks or working with them or whatever. It's just it's not the same, and it's weird and cumbersome if that's not what you're already
Yeah.
kind of well versed in. And that's how we felt too. We were playing to tracks like that had no soul and no life. They were just a timekeeper, but as soon as he
Mhm.
played, it was just like, oh my god, dude, this is awesome.
Yeah.
We
yeah.
felt so good. Yeah.
It's just the
Where
organic
would-
feel of it.
where would people know him from?
All right, already.
Yeah, he played in Ruby Jean and the Thoughtful Bees. That
Yeah.
would be one of the first places I would have seen him play back in the day. So that's like a dance, like pop group, you
Mhm.
know. But his
Yeah.
his heart, I think, is definitely in like heavier music. So his own project, All Right Already, is kind of his baby for sure. But he,
The other day he stood in with Cluttered at the
Yeah.
International Women's Day concert.
Oh, did he?
mhm.
Oh,
and
cool.
the
Yeah.
Burdocks was a band he played in back in the day.
I heard that name. I wouldn't be able
Yeah.
to name a song, but I know
Yeah.
the name.
And I just found out the other day that he used to play in Big Fish,
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
the cover
Yeah.
band.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm
Yeah.
definitely aware of that name.
I went to a wedding
Yeah.
in a hurricane, and Big Fish was playing.
Of course they were.
So we drove from Glasgow to Windsor to go to this wedding, and the power was
Nice.
out. So they got a generator, and then they ran the whole set off a generator. So the generator, the fuses broke on it, or popped a few times on
course.
it, like over and over. So they'd be halfway through a song, stop, reset the generator, get back on stage, play. And it was probably one of the funnest shows I've seen, just because
That's
the
amazing.
That's awesome.
effort that was put into it just to play. So
Yeah.
Oh, that's sick. That's awesome.
good.
I love
Yeah,
that.
they really wanted to do it.
well, and my buddy
that
was
doesn't
playing
surprise me. He's
playing
quite committed.
during the first dances. If my friend played acoustic, he goes by Liam Brophy. He's out in Agash.
Okay.
So he played, but he had no mic, nothing. So he was just singing with his
Screaming.
acoustic and screaming. So they invited him on
really
stage to play Johnny Be Good once they had power. So that was also a good
Nice.
little addition to it. So
Sweet.
Yeah. so he was probably there at that time. I think it's a few
I
years
would
ago.
say.
Yeah.
So after this EP, what is your plans then? We don't really know as far as live stuff because of pandemic and
Mhm.
the distance between you, but
Yeah.
is there a music video or something coming out?
Yeah, there's gonna be hopefully a couple music videos that
Yeah.
come along with songs on the record. And yeah, I mean, again, this project has just kind of like had a life of its own, and we've just
Mhm.
kind of like done whatever has come our way with it. So I think, at least for me, that just feels like the vibe that we'll continue to go with,
Yeah.
hopefully be able to just like keep
Well, I
writing
mean,
music and
We're
and
still sending things back and forth, like
Yeah, you
currently.
know.
So
Sure.
Perfect.
it's
Yeah.
become a bit of a habit, I guess, at this point. It's like just you know what I mean? It's like kind
Yeah,
of just
totally.
part of
I
it
do.
all
It-
now. It's become just a part of the routine. So
I've
Yeah.
developed a couple habits alongside of this podcast that are resulting in like 5 or 6 projects that nobody's working on but me, that aren't for anyone in particular.
Yeah.
I might release it to an audience at some point. Who knows?
Just something.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
it's funny. Yeah, I think it'll keep going, but it's no, it's I think the thing we like about it the best is that there's literally no plan and no pressure.
Yeah.
And
with
the no
music.
plan
It's
and
like-
the no
it's like
pressure
the
helps
defi-
create. Yeah.
Oh my god,
Yeah.
does it ever? Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Like we only work on stuff and we're super feeling it. Like Kim said to me like maybe last week or a couple weeks ago, she was just like, maybe we should write something sexy.
I was like, well, yeah, I was like, I feel like whatever we do next can't be as depressing as what
No,
we've
no,
done
there's-
already.
no.
I was like, if we're gonna keep doing this, like, I'm gonna kill myself. Like,
Yeah,
I can't
we
go
need-
back to that dark place that I was in when we wrote that record. Like,
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's pretty.
I totally agree.
Yeah, I think if you like kind of listen to the lyrics, it's dark enough. Like we tried to keep it like I think musically it's like fun, and we had a good time doing it, but it was really written in like a dark moment.
Like a tone
Yeah.
of the times kind of
Yeah.
thing.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I think everyone's in that
Yeah.
spot though. At the same time, it was
Exactly.
6 months into
Yeah.
everyone's stuck
That's
in their
actually
houses.
funny.
yeah.
Funny enough, that's why we chose to release it this winter. Like it was done before now,
Oh.
but
Yeah.
we wrote it in like the thick of COVID lockdown winter, and we were like, the only way people are going to feel this is if they're back in COVID lockdown winter.
Yeah.
That makes
So,
sense.
we kind of timed the release a little
Yeah.
bit to be at least people be vibing the same
Yeah,
way.
I noticed the link you sent me
Yeah.
today. It wasn't made yesterday. It was
Totally.
No.
months ago. I think it's like loaded 9 months ago or something like that. I was like, what? So
Yeah.
that makes sense though, because
Yeah.
we're in the
Yeah.
same spot. Well, We're not now, but
Yeah.
we were in the same
Yeah.
spot.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
we very well could be in the same spot in 2 weeks' time. Who knows? Right?
Who
So
knows?
Exactly. Yeah.
hopefully not.
So I do have a kind of a question for both of you that's more for our podcast than about you guys specifically, but I'm curious. Well, one, Jillian being in Vermont, do you find it easy to keep up with what's going on up here, or do you just you like the music you like and you know what's going on with the bands that you follow anyway? Or how
For
do you keep in
me?
touch with the Nova Scotia scene that you
Well,
kind of
it's-
came from?
Think about how people talk a lot about politics on the internet, and
Mhm.
like people will have that discussion that's based on if somebody's like super left or super right. If you look at what they're looking at online, it's like a bubble, right? Like it's
Mhm.
their own bubble that they've built based on what they've liked, and now it's like they just have this one thing around them. My bubble is literally Nova Scotia musicians,
Yeah.
and New Brunswick musicians and Toronto musicians, and it's just
Okay.
those are my friends that I made when I was in like a motorcycle as we all
Mhm.
came up and stuff. So all I see in my whole feed every single day is just my buddies making music in Nova Scotia. So I don't find it hard to keep up at all. And I
Cool.
actually video call with a lot of them all the time. Like the sad thing, this is a little personal, but like because I moved here and then it was COVID, like I don't have buds here. Like it's just
Sure.
there hasn't been the opportunity to even like do shows or go to shows or whatever. So I've actually felt more connected to the Nova Scotia music scene being farther away, oddly enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could see that. And like even with this podcast, like I said, the social media, I wasn't like I had Facebook account, but like I didn't do most of it until I was doing the podcast stuff. So I deliberately built the podcast to only be following music related stuff. So that's all I see. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, occasionally things like there's a war going on. You can't avoid that.
Right. No.
But I'm not
Totally.
reading somebody's rant about it. I'm just seeing the support thing and I keep going. Like,
Most stuff too. I
Yeah,
try
yeah.
to manipulate the algorithm. If I see something like that's
Yeah.
fucking stupid, I try to scroll past it quicker.
try don't
because I
try
try
not to
Yeah.
click
don't
on the
click on it.
stupid
Don't
stuff.
pause
Don't
it on
look
your
at it
screen.
too
just-
long. Don't
yeah,
hover.
no, it
Yeah.
knows.
until the
It
Ukraine
does.
thing. I can't keep away from that one because
No,
Yeah.
no, of course.
Totally.
And now kind of a side question for Kim that kind of comes from that too, for where you're right here in the thick of it and you're in multiple bands at the moment. Is there any other bands in your orbit that we should be keeping an eye on going forward? Because I have a list of bands now, but which ones do you think we should be keeping an eye on? Maybe somebody we never heard of yet.
I mean, I feel like you've got a pretty good, you know, finger on the pulse sort of situation.
Plug your friends, Kim. Plug your
I
friends.
know. Some of my favorite bands, just like through the pandemic, have been like we have some buddies in a band called the OBGMs. They're in Toronto. They're awesome. Their record's really great, and that's been a record I've spun a lot through all of this.
Same. Totally.
Yeah,
That is
Cluttered.
awesome, Andrew. If you haven't heard it, you should go listen to that after that.
I'm writing it down.
yeah, I think it's called The Ends. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Totally.
Yeah, I just picked up the Cluttered vinyl the other night at a show.
That's good, eh?
Um,
That's a good
It's
one.
a good one. Yeah. Man, I don't know. So many things. I've been my friend Isra Fitch. Do you
Mhm.
know her? She's killing it right now. I've been really enjoying, well, particularly her live show is awesome. If you ever get a chance to get out and see her, she's amazing. She's been playing a little keys in like a motorcycle here or there, just throwing that out
Yeah.
there. You might see her around with your boys sometime soon. But yeah, I
Wink,
don't
wink,
know.
nod, nod.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's like amazing how many people have been able to keep it together through the
Mhm.
pandemic. It's like it was so hard, and it was hard not to be able to be with the people you're used to being with all the time. Like you couldn't go to shows, you couldn't play shows, and then for a lot of the time you also couldn't rehearse with anyone or get together or work on music. And for like a motorcycle, we weren't doing what me and Jill were doing. We'd never been a band up until the pandemic that were like recording things and sending it back and forth. Like we were always writing together in a room, and
Sure.
that was really hard for me to like, almost have to like retrain my mind into how that band worked, and it took a very different turn, and that's okay. It's just like, yeah, it was really hard, and I think that it was obviously hard for a lot of people. So
Mhm.
now that like I can go out to shows again a little bit, and I've gone to see a couple things, and just seeing bands like back and playing and just sounding so great and sounding tight and new material and stuff, I'm like, holy shit, it's fucking awesome. Like, good job, everybody. Like, you did
Yeah.
it.
It
You
seems
made
like a lot of
through.
people did overcome and get music made.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally.
When the pandemic started, I'm
Yeah.
like, I'm going to have time to write music because I was always so busy. I can just kind of do my own thing, but I didn't have the work from home opportunity. So
Mm.
Yeah.
instead,
Totally.
I was exhausted the entire pandemic. So I'm starting to write stuff now that,
I feel that. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
with my work in it,
Yeah.
it's a whole thing.
Hence me yammering on too long when we're doing the news, and him like looking at the clock. I need to go to bed.
I'm like, I worked
We've
14
been
hours
talking for an
today
hour.
and I want to go to sleep now. I'm good today though. So yeah, we're running close to the end there. So where can we find you guys online?
You want me to go?
Plug it.
Yeah. Instagram. It's on all streaming services. And Instagram's a good place to start just because we got the link tree on there, and that leads you to everything.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's on all the streaming services. Bandcamp. If anybody's interested in buying the thing, I'd go to Bandcamp because, as you know from your other artists on here, we get a little nicer cut of that than anywhere
Yeah.
else.
And the first week of
Um,
April, there is a Bandcamp Friday. That
There you
might be their
go,
last
there you go.
one where you get the full
Oh,
100.
really?
All right.
They got
I
bought
didn't
out
know that.
by Epic Games. So there's
I didn't
nothing
see
solid
that.
for the future, but as of right now, we know that the
Okay.
April one is happening. And the good thing is worldwide purchasing. People can buy
Mhm.
from anywhere. It's a lot easier with Epic Games, but
Yeah.
not sure if they're going to do the Bandcamp Friday thing or not. We'll have to
That's
wait and
interesting.
find out.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting if they give export opportunities to the indie artists. That's what I think the goal is.
Yeah.
Is to like
Okay,
the
interesting.
game industry says we need stuff for this, for a program or a game or whatever. And they're like, well, we have a whole catalog of artists. Let's look through there and find some people. I think that's the
interesting.
idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
knows?
cool. Yeah.
That is cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there'll
If
be
it
good and
works.
bad with
If
everything.
it
right?
works, yeah.
It's like when
Yeah.
Etsy bought Reverb, it was like, I don't know. Buying my guitar bells from Etsy doesn't seem right. So,
I feel that.
Any plans for a physical release?
We've talked about it for
Yeah.
sure. I think it's just right now, it's like, we're not. I think if we get to a point, where this project gets to a place where we are playing shows
Sure.
and we're in like physical spaces with people, we'd probably pull the trigger on that. But I think right now it's just kind of we wanted to just not wait to put it out.
Mhm.
Yeah.
We wanted this was the time we wanted to do it, and I'm sure, as pressing vinyl right now is an incredible feat just in terms of like
Yeah.
time it takes
Yeah.
to get it done.
True.
So when we were kind of looking into that, it's like, well, you literally wait a year, you know what I mean? As everyone knows, it's like we don't know where we're going to be in a year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So if we're playing shows and things have kind of the balls kind of continued to roll, yeah, we'd love to do that, and we've definitely had that discussion. But yeah, just
There's
gonna see how
nothing
it
worse than
goes.
buying a pile of vinyl that nobody wants and having
Yeah.
it sit somewhere and like talk about
Yeah.
make yourself feel bad.
Yeah.
I got
Yeah,
friends
I
with
have-
stacks of
Yeah.
albums.
Wait
and
till
they're like, "Do
people
you
are
want one?"
asking
Yeah.
for it.
Yeah, exactly.
Once
yeah.
people are requesting it, then you're like, okay, we can make some for
Yeah.
you.
I saw an
Yeah,
article there
yeah.
yesterday. Jack White put a call out to all the record labels, said start making your own pressing factories, like kind of pushing people instead of relying on the few that are out there. If more
Yeah.
people made
a
their
great
own,
idea.
and then because it's what people
Actu-
want.
There's
Mhm.
a pressing plant here in Burlington. So I think if we do decide to press, like I might sort of decide to do it that way with Kim, but
Cool.
it's just a really small local place that does small runs, and it's like a family that runs it, this couple, and they anyway, it's just local. They do small runs of all local artists, and they only pick projects that they like and stuff. And it's just I don't know. I kind of feel good giving business to a small place like
Oh,
that.
yeah.
I could.
Oh, yeah,
sure.
absolutely.
Totally.
Yeah.
You could do like a pre-sale once you hit 100, then
Well,
press
yeah,
100.
that's
Totally.
kind of
Exactly.
yeah.
Mhm.
That's what we were thinking
That's what
of.
we think we'll
Yeah.
probably do. Yeah, I mean, this
Yeah.
is like the first project. I mean, I've been in a long time where we're actually making all the decisions. You know,
Mhm.
like there's not been someone saying like, oh, you got to do this, you got to be here, you got to use this company, you got to, you know,
Yeah.
blah blah blah, and it's just like pretty refreshing to just like take it day by day. You know, it kind of makes it a little bit fun and
I
takes
agree.
the edge off. So yeah,
Totally.
who knows what we'll do next?
So I have a plan. Jillian can come up in November for Music Week.
Okay, great. Let me write that down.
And then
uh,
you guys can come on our show when we're there, and you can perform one of your songs there. There you
There.
There
go.
you go, Kim.
All right,
An-
there you
an
go.
offer-
We've got a
an offer you
tentative
can't
plan
refuse.
already.
Yeah, put that
You
on the
heard it here,
whiteboard.
folks. Darcy makes stuff up on air, and it comes true later.
Then, well, you know what? You never know.
You never know.
We'll see. We'll test the
Yeah.
theory.
Yeah, exactly.
And
See
if
how psychic
and if
you are.
okay, let's put something on this.
Okay.
If we're there and that happens, what do you get? Do you get something? Do we get something? What happens?
Yeah,
Let's
is
make
there
it
like
fun.
a prize involved?
We'll have to come
Yeah.
up with something good there for them, Andrew.
All right.
There we go. Can't
We
wait.
want it to be special, boys. You get better make it special for us.
We'll put our thinking
We'll
caps
get
on.
you guys to pick a guest. We'll line them up, and then we'll step away, and you guys interview them. So you
Oh,
guys can
that's kinda-
interview the
that's
people.
Oh,
actually
yeah,
instead.
that is
Sick.
really fun. Yeah,
I like that idea.
I do. Yeah.
Put that on the
That's
whiteboard too.
doable.
All right, Kim, get on the
Okay.
horn. Let's start
Yeah.
booking tickets.
All right, let's do it.
And if anyone wants to find us online, they can find us on Instagram. We have a Discord. Go to Instagram,
you
find
got
our
a
link tree
Discord?
there. Yeah, we got Discord going. We have a bulletin board in
Nice.
there. You can share shows. You can share your music. Yeah, there's a link
gonna
on
go
our
find that. That's
in
awesome.
our link tree. There's a link there for the Discord. So jump in there and try to start a community.
Nice.
Trying to get the East Coast scene so everyone's kind of knows what's going on in one spot. So
Love it.
Were you guys around for the time of the locals? The locals message board?
no.
No.
That's a
I
long time ago.
remember there being stuff online, but I wasn't.
Yeah.
I would occasion if I was going to something in the city or something, I would just look around to see if anybody was
Yeah.
talking about it. And occasionally I might stumble across like, oh, there's a house party. I'm like, well, I don't know them, so I can't go. So I didn't go very often.
Oh, we went.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
We went to
we
everything.
I don't know them. On my way.
Uninvited.
So our closing song is going to be Other Reason. Anything you guys want to say about that song before we start playing it?
It ends with an S. That's it.
Yeah,
Other
other
reasons.
reasons. Well, it's. I mean,
Did I
for
not
one,
say
it's
other reason?
kinda
I'm
like
sorry.
The,
We should
odd
have
man out on
been
the
plumber. No.
yeah.
Yes.
Should have been a plumber.
Yeah.
Been a plumber.
Before
Yeah,
we
it
play
is
the song.
It's a weird one. Yeah, it's like I would just say that it's like kind of the odd man out on the record. It's
Mhm.
a little different than everything else, which is kind of why we picked this one to sort of showcase a little more stripped down. And
Strip down acoustic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
Is there it sounds like there's a big Courtney Love influence there. Is that where that comes from, or is there something before Courtney Love? Am I just
well,
going
for me,
mainstream?
when I wrote it, I wanted to write like an Oasis song.
Okay.
Yeah,
I can hear that.
Yeah. And then have it kind of sound like it was being played live on acoustic guitars. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
That was like kind of the vibe. It's the only song I play guitar on also.
That's true.
Oh, really?
You
but
did a good
the
job.
funny thing about this song, and I'll just say it quickly. I know we're kind of at the end here, but
We're good.
when I first met Kim, this is a song she was writing. These are the songs she was writing. They all sounded like Other Reasons when I first met her. They
Oh.
were all acoustic songs. Like, I don't know if you boys know this or not, but Kim wrote a rock opera
No.
about 12 years ago, and she was playing acoustic guitar, wrote all the songs. We performed it a few times. Like, so anyway, this is what like the Kim that I met wrote. So this is not new for me, but I don't think a lot of people have heard this from Kim that like know her from like a motorcycle and stuff. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Well,
but it's
it-
been in there. It's been in there this
That's
whole
right.
time.
Yeah.
Last
We're
question before
definitely
we-
gonna have to bug her for that again in the future then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you ever hear any whole influence in anything we're doing, that's me.
Yeah, I was wondering because I saw you doing some stuff on Instagram there too.
I came right up and all that. Absolutely.
Mhm.
So one last question before we do close out. How did you get the name We Should Have Been Plumbers?
Kim,
Oh,
take
this is
that.
such a good question.
Love it.
So, uh, our favorite movie, our favorite movie, is Moonstruck. Have you ever seen it? It's a movie
Aware of it.
with Cher and Nicolas Cage.
Dreamboat.
It's an amazing movie. It's so good.
So
And
good.
there's a line where Cher's dad is a plumber. He makes a lot of money, you know, back in the day in New York City. If you were a plumber, anyway, they go into this. There's these painters coming into this house, and they're kind of bitching about all the hard work they're going to have to do, and they're like, "Oh, we should have been plumbers like Castorini," they say, you know, and they're kind of just like, "Oh, we really fucked up." And I thought this project was, we just thought this, it's kind of funny, you know, we're getting on in years, you know, and here we are still kind of like doing this, and
Yeah.
maybe we should have been plumbers.
I often think
Yeah.
I should have taken a different trade, but yeah.
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 So I
the
feel
trades
it.
are where it's at.
Yep.
All right, so this is the song. It hasn't been released yet, and this will be your
Right.
sneak peek. It'll be out in 2 days' time from the airing of this, and it is "Other Reasons" by We Should Have Been Plumbers, and we'll see you all in a couple weeks.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Yeah. Thanks for having us.
Thanks again.
Thanks for coming on. Bye.
Go ahead, resent me. By now it's expected. All for doing what you knew I had to do. Maybe you didn't listen to me. Or maybe you had other reasons. Help me help you understand. My heart was never on the mend. Uncommon ground has brought us to the end. Or maybe you didn't listen to me. Or maybe you had other reasons to be the source of my grievance. All the energy we're saving by simply not engaging. Just ignore me, it's over anyway. Or maybe you didn't listen to me. Or maybe you had other reasons to be the source of